I would just say to be yourself. For so many years, I feel like I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, to try to fit in, to like be more social and more outgoing and extroverted. But at the end of the day, that's just not who I am. So you can't. You just gotta be who God put you on earth to be.
I am Cindy Stein. I'm the head women's basketball coach at Southern Illinois University, but I'm more famously known as being LaToya Bond's former coach. When I got the job at the University of Missouri, my staff and I we just really were diligent on, we wanted to find the best athletes, the best skilled kids, kids that kind of can create on their own. And LaToya was one of those kids. We actually saw her in AAU ball first. She was playing for the Chicago Hoops Express, and we just loved the way she played. Real smooth ball handler. The greatest thing with her is she always listened, and she's very easy to coach. We did have to go to hand signals because obviously she wasn't very verbal, but honestly, when the game's on the line, she was the one wanting to take the shot. She was trying to make the play, and she could do it. There's a lot of kids that want to make the play and can't. LaToya actually got the job done, and that's what I really liked. And if she couldn't do it, she was smart enough to figure out where everybody else on the team was, that she could get them the ball in the right spot. And so she was a real heady player as well. She likes to speak through her actions.
If you play with Toya, you had to learn sign language. Toya was a quiet point guard. She didn't call a lot of plays, but for some reason, we were in sync with her that we always knew what was going on. I never had an issue with her being a point guard. You didn't get a lot of play calls, but you definitely had to pay attention to what she wanted us to run, which she did a good job of using the signs, but it wasn't a lot of talking on the court, that's for sure. That was her style. She was a silent killer. I mean, Toya would not say much and she'd give you 30 really easily. And that's the thing, like a game spoke for herself. So a little bit more, I would say she was a little bit more vocal, but not as much as you would think. I think now that she's coaching AAU, she's more vocal on the bench than she was on the court, and I tease her about that too, because she gets on the player for not talking. I'm like, really, Toya? But I think that she had to get a little bit out of her shell, but not as much as probably a coach would like. I think that she was still a little quiet and try to adapt to whatever system she was in at the time.
My name is Richard King. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a child, family, couples, adult therapist. I started seeing LaToya about a half a year ago. She was sent to me by another therapist that I knew who didn't understand what was going on with her and needed some help. So she started seeing me simply because I've been working with Asperger, now called high-functioning autism, but I tend to use Asperger as the term because I've been using it as that term for 30-some years. And I've been working with Asperger folks for 30-some years. And I should also say that Asperger and autism is primarily a disorder with males. There are very few females who get this. Typically, I get into the adults through the children because somewhere in the family there's Asperger. And usually that adult person is very unhappy. And that was where LaToya was when she came to me. And so I've been working with her to help her figure out what it is she needs to do to make herself happier, what she needs to do in her life. Autism is typically a communication disorder. They have thoughts in their head that they can't get other people to understand. All right. And so they start shutting down in their communication when people don't understand them. And when they shut down their communication, then people don't try to understand them because they're not helping them. And then they end up being pretty much alone.
My name is LaToya Bond. Do I have to look at the camera? Okay, good. Can we start over? My name is LaToya Bond, and I'm 36 years old, and I'm an industrial engineer for a major shipping company. I really enjoy music. When I was younger, I played a couple instruments in my middle school band until basketball kind of took over my life. But just recently, I just got back into it, and I've always been interested in playing the bass, so I just bought me a bass guitar, and I was back in, I think it got delivered in May, and I've just been teaching myself how to play since. I would say when I get around people that I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm shy. I guess that I would call it more having anxiety, and I just kind of just sit there and observe everybody, because normally I just don't know what to say. And that's probably why people think I'm a mute or standoffish or antisocial. I was on my first real basketball team when I was in 4th grade. And then from there, I just kept going. I was on my middle school team. I'm from Urbana, Illinois, so I played for Urbana Middle School, Urbana High School. And then from there, I went to college at the University of Missouri. I played there. Got drafted into the WNBA and played for the Charlotte Sting and the Indiana Fever, and also played overseas. When I played with the Fever, I had a real hard time with I wouldn't say getting along with that coach, but I guess seeing eye to eye. And the biggest issue was my communication. And she had an issue because I never really talked. And I remember one day she yelled at me in practice, and she said something to me, and I turned around and I said, okay, just like that, just okay. And she yelled back at me and was like, why don't you ever say anything? And I was just like, what do you want me to say? But we just didn't really see eye to eye, probably because of the communication barrier.
My name is Gerald Davis, and I am the program director for Chicago Hoops Express, a high school and elementary school girls travel program out of Chicago. LaToya came to play for Chicago Hoops Express in 2001 and 2002. So I met LaToya, we spoke, and for the 2 years she played for me, when she came to Chicago, she actually stayed with me. And in those 2 years, LaToya and I probably said 3 words to each other as far as an interactive conversation. I used to do most of the talking. I would ask the questions. She gave me 1-word answers, and she never really showed much emotion at all. The good thing, though, back then when she played for us, the commonality or the common factor was basketball. And the group of kids that we had playing, all of those kids, especially LaToya's last year, 2002, she played on a team with Candace Parker and multiple high major Division I kids, many of them who went on to have professional careers. The focus and the motivation of all those kids at that point in time was to be great on the basketball court. And the only real language that you truly had to speak in order to be embraced was to be able to hoop. So I think it was an easy transition for them. It didn't bother anybody that she didn't talk much, but honestly, nobody was aware of what she internally was going through.
Communication was probably one of my biggest issues throughout my entire basketball career, especially with me being the point guard. As everybody knows, the point guard is the floor general. They're the coach out there on the floor, so they have to direct everything that's going on, which was a big issue for me since I don't really communicate very well. and I don't talk a lot. So I was not the most vocal person out there. Um, and I kind of just tried to lead by example all the time. But, once I got into high school and people started realizing that I had the potential to play at the next level, my high school coach and, people around me, AAU coach was, trying to get me to come out of my shell and talk and try to um, be more vocal out on the court, be more of a leader. It didn't really work. I mean, I tried as much as I could. I really didn't show any emotion, wasn't animated or anything like that. I just went out there and played. The same thing goes for when I got into college and the WNBA. I wouldn't say I had a disconnect with my coaches, but I just was never able to build that, I guess, point guard and head coach kind of relationship.
You try different things as a coach. And I remember one practice, honestly, preparing, I think, for postseason, whether we were going into the Big 12 tournament or the NCAAs, and she wasn't talking. We needed her to talk. And I'm like, well, we're going to run until LaToya talks. And I think we got up to 27 sprints. Back in that day, you could run kids a lot more too. But, I knew at that point that was the wrong thing. I mean, it wasn't going to make her talk. I mean, she wasn't a talker, so we needed to figure out another way.
She did struggle, I think, with getting comfortable with people that she didn't know. She never was a person that would go and, be out there and an extrovert, but she always been on the wall just chilling, and people struggle with that at times, even when we're in college, because they feel like, oh, she's standoffish or she's not nice, and I'm like, no, like, she's the funniest person you can be around, but people didn't experience a lot of that because they were not around her. So I think socially she did struggle a little bit. People did struggle with her not knowing really what were her thoughts, and I was like, you have no idea how funny she is.
So I was diagnosed with high functioning autism, I would say September of 2019. High functioning autism affected me in the sense that a lot of people mistakenly thought that I didn't care, and that wasn't the case. Especially in basketball with not showing emotion. That's pretty much how I came off to people. It's just not caring.
My name is Tamika Milburn. I own and founded the Atlanta Monarchs, and I am the commissioner of the Women's Professional Basketball Association. I approached Toya the first time I met her. She was like, she had a certain confidence about her. She was very, very quiet, very shy, but open to conversation once she got a little bit comfortable. LaToya is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, but no one knows it because, no one knows it because they don't talk to her, or she doesn't talk to them.
During the 2 years that she played, personalities were very, very strong. Not only were the personalities very strong, all of these kids were highly competitive. I mean, that last group she played on, there were two kids that ended up playing at University of Southern California, one at Tennessee, one at Purdue, one at Illinois, and just some other Power 5 schools. So not only were they strong personalities, but they all were motivated to be better than the next person. LaToya, you still didn't quite know at that moment how good she was. You knew that she was good. She played more than most of the players because she could fit in very, very easily, but she just kind of slid into the backdrop and stepped up at specific times. But she was so good that of all those kids, it's only one player who had much more success than her as far as professional basketball, and that was Candace Parker. So I think that it was much easier for her in that grouping because there were so many strong personalities. Her being much more of a quiet, fit-in kind of a player, it actually probably worked better than if she had come with a really, really strong personality or was a lot more open about her feelings?
I first started working with kids, 2013, 14. I had a training company and just been training kids here and there to help them reach their goals and their potential in basketball. I also coach a youth team. I've been coaching for probably about the same amount of time.
So prior to her playing for the Atlanta Monarchs, LaToya and I actually owned a business together. And it was a training and development business primarily for young people. Again, she's very quiet. A lot of the parents would come to me and say, hey, they call her Coach Bond. Did we do something to offend Coach Bond? She's not speaking to us, or she doesn't speak to us, or we'll talk to her and she'll just walk off. So those were some challenges we had with owning the business together. But once she gets to know someone, she's extremely methodical as a trainer. I will say that out of, I've seen a lot of trainers, and she's probably one of the best trainers I've ever seen, because she's so methodical, because she's so structured, and because she's just so focused on, the thing that she needs to do to make herself and other people better. It was, communicating with her, can be difficult for some people because, of her lack of communication. She doesn't speak that often. We had a parent come in with her daughter, and she wanted LaToya to work on her shot. And it was one spot on the court that the little girl couldn't shoot from. She said, the mom said, I've taken her to so many trainers, and she just can't shoot from this spot on the court. And I'm sitting there like, okay, that's fine. And I watched Toya. Toya doesn't say anything to the mom, and she doesn't speak to the girl at all. She just watched the girl shoot. And I used to call her like the basketball player whisperer. She just watched she watched the girl shoot. She let the girl take about 10 to 12 shots. She walked up to her. No one heard what she said. To this day, I have no idea what LaToya said to this girl. Walked up to her, stepped back, and the girl just started knocking down the shots. So I'm like, she's so methodical, and she's just so focused that she can pick up things that a lot of other people can't pick up on. And whatever she did to correct this girl's shot, it worked immediately.
I've been playing basketball as long as other sports since I was little, and it wasn't until middle school to early high school that I realized that I wanted to play basketball in college. I wanted to give myself that opportunity to help, of course, pay for school, but also to be able to play basketball at the next level. And I was fortunate enough to come in contact with Coach Bond and Coach Tamika, and just got to know them and her, and just kind of her past and kind of her experience with basketball and how she's made it far with kind of just the hard work that she does and that she showed me. And I kind of bought into that and trusted her to help me get to that next level. And that's exactly what she did. I would describe Coach Bond as a silent assassin. Like, she is more quiet, kind of off the court. She's not a very talkative person. She's kind of more to herself. But if you see her play and coach, like, she can get really fierce. Like, she plays with a lot of emotion, and kind of like, you would not be able to tell when she plays that she is quiet at all off the court. And that kind of like, just that balance is kind of what makes her what makes her so great, because she's kind of those person, you don't speak it, you just show it.
Toya is very intelligent, and she could do just about anything she wants to. Her intelligence, she's actually using her intelligence to help her with her emotions. And that's where I try and get people. When I start talking to them, I say, okay, you got all this intelligence and your emotions sting. You're not doing them well at all. So let's use your intelligence to teach your emotions what they need to be. And it doesn't quite work that way, but she gets it that way. And so she starts talking to herself, basically. Oh, that was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, type thing. And then try and change that. Okay. And she's doing well at that.
I would just tell her, God blessed you with high functioning autism, and it's a gift, because the way that she sees the world, just the way that other people with autism see the world, it's just a beautiful way. It's just different. And she can put things together that a lot of people can't put together. And God blessed her with that. And I know that it's difficult for her to be in certain situations, but I always tell her, just try to share your gift with other people, especially kids, because she played in the WNBA with high functioning autism. That's an accomplishment in itself. So, just because she has that, don't look at it as a limitation, but look at it as something that you overcome, and you can share that with so many people and be an inspiration to so many people.
If you have an adult Asperger in your life, you need to ask them what you need to do to help, because they will tell you, and you'll probably not agree with it, but it's probably the right thing to do. Unless it's leave me alone. Leave me alone is the incorrect response for the Asperger. Okay, if they say leave me alone, say I'm not buying that. But if they say pretty much anything else, you need to listen, because they do want help. They do want to be involved. They do want to be loved. They want to love. And they want to be able to do that. They want to be good parents. They want to be good lovers. Okay. These are things that are important to them, but very, very difficult for them because it's all emotional stuff.
I thought that I finally found something worth seeing through. Now you only remind me of someone I thought that I knew.
The advice I would give to kids or anybody else out there that's dealing with a disability, I would just say to be yourself. For so many years, I feel like I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, to try to fit in, to like be more social and more outgoing and extroverted. But at the end of the day, that's just not who I am. And I think that's was a struggle for me and what actually caused me to want to start going to therapy. But at the end of the day, you just gotta be who God put you on earth to be.
It makes me sick, you know more than my friends about me. It hurts like hell, 'cause I only fell for some girl you pretended to be. You're a much better liar than anyone I've met before. Now I just need some time till I don't.
I coach a team of young girls that are rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors for FBC, the finest basketball club. Really?